Yeah, I'll start with a couple for Donovan. How exciting an opportunity is this at the weekend for you to take on Premier League opposition?
It's a big opportunity. Myself and the rest of the group's really excited. I feel like we've worked extremely hard to get here. We've had to play some tough opposition whilst keeping our league form of high standard. So I feel like this is an opportunity. Not every weekend you get the chance to play against Premier League. We want to test ourselves. We want to give a good account for ourselves and showcase what the club's doing at the moment, and we're in a positive space. So we're relishing it, really.
You hear a lot of this sort of stage of year Premier League clubs talking about balancing different competitions, and as you touched on there, promotion would be massive for you guys this year. But does this feel like just an opportunity you almost can't let slip through your fingers to try and do something incredibly memorable for Walsall's history?
100%. Promotion is top of the agenda. Beating Leicester is very close. So we're not going to go into the game half-hearted. I'm assuming we're going to put out a strong team. I don't pick the team. I'm assuming we're going to put out a strong team, and we're going to give our all, every man and the team. So we're looking forward to it, and that's all we can do.
Fella next to you knows a thing or two about upsets. What have been the messages so far that he's passed on to you in the build-up to this game?
Just showcase our ability, do what we've been doing in training, trust each other, and give them a fight. Make them know they're in a game. We're all fellow professionals, so we have nothing to fear. We all kick the same ball and breathe the same air, so it's going to be an opportunity to see what they're made of and see why they're in the Premier League, and let them know what we're made of and why we want to get there. So,
just a final one for me then. You sort of, in the build-up to third rounds and fourth rounds particularly, you always can sort of sense and smell upsets. Do you think that the way that Leicester have been since they got back from the World Cup, it's been tricky, they're still looking over their shoulder a little bit in the Premier League, that those are the little sort of ingredients which make this a tie that they need to be really wary of?
Yeah, I think if you read into it like that, you could see it as an opportunity. But for us, we were in a sticky situation early part of the season, and we understand that it takes one moment, one game to find your feet, find your form and kick on. And I'm assuming they're going to look at the game in such a way where they're playing a team in the lower division, so it's an opportunity for them to start again. But we're going to give them a really good fight, and that's what we can do.
Wish you all the best, thank you.
Look, it's listening to Donovan then about how a player's mindset is. For me, I know how tough it's going to be. Let's not get carried away too much with Leicester's poor form at the minute, because they're playing in probably one of the toughest leagues in the world. They're littered with internationals. They've got an outstanding manager, in my opinion. Nearly won the league with Liverpool. Done an unbelievable job at Celtic. He's done a good job at Leicester. Yes, there are a few problems, it seems. But again, they have got good players throughout, and that is not just the 11. They've probably got a squad of about 35. So whoever they choose to play against Walsall on the weekend is going to be a tough ask. And always, from my experience in these situations, you need the Premier League team to have a bit of an off day. You need all your players to be at their best, and you need a little sprinkle of lady luck, because when that happens, that's when the recipe for an FA Cup upset happens, and we'll be hoping all three of them come to fruition on the weekend.
You're slightly jealous that you can bring in a £17 million left back.
Yeah, it's not a bad look. Whether or not he fancies his debut at Walsall is a different story. Like I said, staying in the Premier League is going to be paramount to them. It's going to be the most important thing. But they've had FA Cup success recently, and I'm sure some of those players will want it again. So it's look, Brendan, he gets the FA Cup as well. So it's not going to be. I don't think they're going to put the youth team out. Put it that way. Yeah. I think they're going to pick a fairly strong team. But it is even better then if we do get the win, because we've beaten a group of Premier League players.
with your manager's union hat on, Michael, do you have sympathy for some of the criticism Brendan's received this season?
Of course I do. Look, you don't become a bad manager overnight. You don't become a bad team overnight. Like I said, I'm not sure what's going on behind the scenes in terms of that. It doesn't seem how it used to. Leicester was always a club I thought, wow, this place is run impeccably. I would say it's not been as smooth a transition since obviously the fateful death of the owner, which is a catastrophe and such sad news. So it's not been, from the outside looking in, it's not been as comfortable or as smooth flowing as it was. So, but that's nothing we can do about it. Brendan is there. He's experienced. He's been there, seen it, done it. He's not just gone to Liverpool and Celtic. He's Watford, Swansea. He's had those opportunities, and I'm sure there would have been some things going on behind the scenes at those clubs as well. So he's accustomed to it, and I'm sure that he'll come through it with flying colours. And I just hope it starts after the weekend.
Well, you can see kind of sort of the chinks in the armour, maybe, that you can expose on Saturday.
Well, look, we do our due diligence on every opponent. The analysis, the prep work we do on the training ground, the video analysis we do with the players to highlight that, where we can expose them, where their strengths are. We'll do it as normal. We do it for every game, every opponent, because we respect them all. Whether it's Salford on Tuesday or Leicester on Saturday, they will get exactly the same respect. It's just, I would say you'll get a few more let-offs in our league than you will against a Premier League team.
Mike, we had some great upsets in Newport, and I know for those of us who've been to the ground there on the break, the wind would blow in and it'd often be wet, and although they were deserved cup wins, maybe the elements and the setup there was really in your favour. I just wonder how it compares here, and then the pitch looks quite good for example.
I don't know what you on about. I thought it was about 34 degrees. The pitch was like a bowling green, and our boys were outstanding on the days.
Some of that was true.
Yeah. Listen, it always makes me laugh that does come up. It does help. But Man City had no problem playing on it. They were unbelievable on the Rodney Parade pitch, which wasn't great. Man City handled it. Phil Foden was 18, and he blew me away. He was outstanding that day. He scored 2. They played the team they played was ridiculous. I nearly stayed in the changing rooms after seeing the team sheet. David Silva, Jesus, Edison, Foden. They had everyone. Mahrez. So they went heavy, and those players handled the Rodney Parade pitch. So it does get on my nerves a little bit when people say, the elements, they help. Well, it's the same for both teams, and we're just not fortunate enough to be playing on bowling greens week in, week out. But that service is better than Rodney Parade's at the time, and there'll be no excuses either side. So whether we have a heavy defeat or we give them a defeat, whatever it is what it is. It's about enjoying the moment, soaking in the atmosphere, and playing with no fear, because that's what the FA Cup is all about. The FA Cup makes dreams come true for the smaller clubs.
You've obviously got this reputation now as being a giant killer, but as that goes on, can that work against you? Because maybe when a team comes up against one of your size, they're not going to take you lightly, are they?
100%. It happens. We've been there. We've been very unfortunate not to have a few more. We lost to Newcastle on penalties. We lost to Brighton on penalties. Both drawing the game in extra time. So we've been even really close to doing it. On numerous occasions. And for me, when it's easy to say, upset, and it was fortunate. But when it happens so many times, you can't be fortunate all the time. So I'm going to give the players, obviously at the time, the staff at the time, myself at the time, I'm going to give us a tap on the back, because when things happen consistently, then it's either you're doing something wrong and you're not addressing it, or you're doing something right and it's going in your favour. So yeah, we'll take some of that experience with us.